Hey everybody. Today wanted to look at the Jinhao 9019. There's been some really good YouTube videos on this pen. So I obviously it's an affordable pen. It's large. It's got a lot of things to offer. I wanted to add my voice to just a few things that I've noticed with this pen. Been using it for a little while. So let's dive in. First of all, the design is great. I mean, it is large. So if you like larger pens, and I've heard that it's kind of like the size of a Namiki Emperor, kind of. It's not a clear, quote, copy, but it's inspired by classic cigar-shaped pens. It's not all that much larger than a Jinhao X159. I've got them here. You've probably seen these compared before, but overall size, it's not terribly longer. It's about the same. It's a little girthier, especially in the cap. The body's also a little more girthy. It has the same nib. Actually, let's see how many twists to take the cap off here. All right, so we've got 1, 2, almost about 2.5, just under 2.5. So let's look at this nib and let's count the rotations on this one. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, just over 2. So it takes a little bit more to unthread, but they have the exact same nib unit. The X159, if you had one of the first ones that came out, it's not compatible with the latter, but the latter versions of X159, the threading is the same, so you can interchange these. So these are both medium nibs. They're both number 8 size, nice and big, but you can see the grip section on the 9019 is just a bit wider. I also wanted to compare this grip section with the Moonman or Majohn Q1. 1 under 2 to take that one off. Obviously the nib sizes are different. This is a number 6 size nib, but you can see the girth on the grip section. It's actually pretty similar at the edge, but this does taper up. And that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed in these two. If we can post these here. With the Q1, you almost have to post, but it's definitely, you've got the girthy grip section, but you're forced into this, closing kind of feel, so it's less open. Whereas this one, you can have more of an elongated grip. You're not forced into any kind of a closed end here. So, and you definitely could write unposted. In fact, I usually do with this pen. So, grip section similar to this Moonman Q1, but yeah, just a different overall shape. And comfort is going to be just depending on the preference. When I got the Q1, I got it because it just looked great and it was fun. But I was surprised actually at how how comfortable it is to write with. It's not uncomfortable at all. And this Jinhao 9019 is actually not bad. It's just different. It takes a little getting used to having that big of a grip, but it does have its benefits on how you're holding it. So One of the things that I noticed with this pen, and you can kind of see it here, is with these translucent kinds, the way that the converter, which actually screws in, you can see it lined up here. It's not exact perfect. So as I turn it here, you'll see there's a little bit of a wobble, like right there. You can see how it's a little bit bent, or again, nothing major that I think most people would see. And so when you're unscrewing this, let's see if you can hear. I'm just twisting back and forth so you can hear this. You can hear that. I thought it was the metal threads digging into the plastic, but it's actually not. It's whatever this is off, rubbing up against these plastic supports in here. So nothing to be overly concerned about. There's nothing really here that's getting destroyed. Doodlebud does a great video walking through how this is engineered. He gives this pen a lot of praise, which I think is valid. Another thing I'll mention is when you're this does not just pull out, this unscrews. And I have this inked up, so I won't show you, but I was holding here, and this will actually turn without turning this. You can actually separate these. Well, I don't know that it will separate, but when you want to unscrew this, hold on to the plastic part to undo that. So those are a couple things I've noticed. And when I ordered this, I meant to order a medium. I accidentally ordered an extra fine, and it was a stupid mistake of mine. I think I put it in my cart, AliExpress, and then when I came back to it, it refreshed and it changed the nib size to an extra fine, and I just didn't catch it. So anyway, what I ended up doing is getting some nibs separately, and I was able to change that out. It changes out very easily. When I cleaned this out when I first got it, it had some ink residue on the nib, like it had been tested. And I think most have noticed that a lot of these are tested, which is surprising for a pen this inexpensive. But we've seen that with the Jinhao X159 as well. So, yes, I think this is very good value. I think this was about $10, $11 US to ship from China to the United States. And they've got some good options. This one's a more of a translucent, which I like. They also have some solid colors. So let me show you a little bit of how this writes. Okay, I've got a piece of scratch paper from my William Hanna notebook. Just wanted to show on this paper because it's what I typically use, and make sure my focus works well here. This is the Jinhao 9019. The nib on this is a medium. It's nice and juicy. Yes, wonderful. Okay, and the ink, we have Emerald of Chicken of Chivor. This is my first time trying out this ink, and I am really enjoying it. Although the shimmer is not, you know, the shimmer is not, what should I say, consistent. Sometimes you get a little bit, sometimes you won't. And I've had trouble with shimmer in the past. I'll share something here in just a minute on what my thoughts are there. But yeah, this is, here, let me try this again. Terrible handwriting. Sorry about that. This has just a smooth nib, perfect amount of feedback. For an $11 pen, this is just amazing. I would highly recommend trying these out. And yeah, I feel like the girthy grip, it just feels, it's a different writing experience. It's worth trying out, and I would definitely recommend it for 11 bucks. As far as the shimmer, sorry, the ink itself, I just wanted to share this little tip that I've got. You know, with pens, a lot of times if they're running drier or I'm wanting to use up the ink, I'll actually store them nib down when they're capped. So screwing them together, and I'll store them nib down like this, just to make sure that the ink is coming in. I would not recommend that for a shimmer. And I guess it makes sense that the particles will settle to the bottom and they will clog up your feed and your nib unit. So just store them nib up. That way any particles will settle down out of the way, and when you go to use it, you can agitate the ink a little bit just to get that flowing. So I wouldn't recommend shimmer in a pen that you can't take the nib unit out, things like that, and also a wider nib tipping size. So instead of an extra fine, I think a medium or larger is going to both show off the properties of the shimmer better, but also allow the shimmer to come out. So those are some of my tips there. Overall, highly recommend this pen. I think if you like that girthy feel, I think the Moonman Majohn Q1 is also a good idea. It's a little more expensive. I forget exactly what I paid for this. I think it was closer to $35 US, but it's a fun pen. It is eyedropper only, at least I believe. It's designed for eyedropper, and so you will get some of the burping and some of the issues as it gets to be more air in there. You'll get some of those eyedropper issues. This one, the converter is huge. I forgot to mention that, and that's been mentioned by others. This converter is massive. This has basically an entire Goulet sample vial in it. So that is huge. So it's got the convenience of cleaning for a converter, but the pros of ink capacity. So all around, I've got nothing negative to say and highly recommend it. Thanks for tuning in. Do you have this pen? Have you tried it? If you haven't, what's holding you back? And just curious your experiences, if you've got any issues that you've found that I didn't bring up here. All right, thanks for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe so that you don't miss out. We'll talk later. Thanks.